Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 2, Risk Management Q. We're gonna present our final project, Risk Management of Company in Indonesia. Case study of PT Semen Batu Raja. These are our group members. There are 6 students. This is our presentation outline. Part 1 is introduction. Part 2 risk assessment. Part 3 risk mitigation and register. Part 4 good corporate governance. Part 1 introduction. Company profile. PT Semen Batu Raja was established on November 14, 1974. PT Semen Batu Raja runs a business specifically in the production of slag with a production center located in Batu Raja, South Sumatra. Meanwhile, the cement milling and bagging process is carried out at Batu Raja Factory, Palembang Factory, and Panjang Factory, which is then distributed to the company marketing areas. The raw material used in cement product are limestone and clay obtained from the company limestone and clay mining site, which is located about 1.2 km from the Batu Raja Factory. Other product materials are obtained from company partners. This is a vision, mission, and company value. The vision is to be the leading green cement-based building material company in Indonesia. The mission, the first one is PT Semen Batu Raja is a national pride cement-based building material provider. PT Semen Batu Raja provide quality, environmentally friendly, and sustainable products. PT Semen Batu Raja guarantees customer satisfaction by prioritizing excellent service. And the last one, PT Semen Batu Raja is committed to building a better Indonesia. The company value, there are 6: trust, competent, harmony, loyal, adaptive, and collaborative. So the next one is company share. PT Semen Batu Raja conduct a civil share offering or initial public offering on June 28, 2013 by releasing 23.76% share to the public to finance the construction of the Batu Raja second factory. The volume stock transaction continues to increase from the first quarter of 2019 to the fourth quarter of 2020, so that it can be said that the share of PT Batu Raja are in demand by the public when viewed from the volume of stock transaction. The next one is company share. From PT Batu Raja until the end of the 2020 financial year, number of company share was 9.932.434.336, wide with composition of ownership as pictured beside. The highest share held by government of the Republic of Indonesia at 75.51%, and followed by companies with the most shareholder in PT Semen Batu Raja. This is the financial statement from PT Semen Batu Raja. In 2020, the sale of PT Semen Batu Raja product decreased compared to 2019. This was due to COVID-19 pandemic, which caused Indonesia development sector to decline. The sales of product that support development, such as cement sold by PT Batu Raja, decreased as well. In detail, sales data can reflect the company financial condition are described in detail in the image beside. In addition to sales data, the company financial condition can also be seen through the following company financial data, namely asset, liabilities, and equity. Through the company financial data above, PT Batu Raja still experienced an increase in asset, liabilities, and equity, although not significant. This shows that the company can overcome the COVID-19 so that the company does not experience too high a difference in asset, liabilities, and equity.
Okay, so the next one, we want to explain about the risk assessment. Maybe we can move to the next slide. So first thing first, what we need to do when we're analyzing risk is doing the risk identification. Now I will explain about the result of our risk identification, and as we can see on the table, this is a summary result of PT Semen Batu Raja risk identification. So How we find out all of this? Basically, we are doing a deep research of the company by analyzing the company annual report for the past 5 years from 2016 until 2020. And we also review the company's reported data by looking at the news reports about PT Semen Batu Raja. And this is all the answer. We categorize the risk to 5 categories, including market risk, operational risk, legal risk, liquidity risk, and also credit risk. Through these 5 types of risk, we managed to identify 13 kind of main risks, which will be specified in more detail, which I will explain in the table on the next slide. So maybe we can. So this is the table of our risk identification result. We have 20 kinds of different events that can cause, which has the possibility of risk in the future. I'm not going to explain it all, the table contents, because it's too complex and I think it's clear enough to understand based on the table in this slide. But I will try to explain quickly about the specific risk. For the external economic risk, we have identified 3 kind of risks that might be happen, including decreased purchasing power of product, delayed export and import, because we know that we have limitation of economic activities caused by COVID-19 pandemic, and the decline of company stock price caused by negative sentiment during the pandemic crisis. So for the competition risk, there are 2 kind of risks that might occur, including new emerging product and service, and also the market condition change. For the exchange risk, we know that in this time of crisis, the economic condition is facing a high uncertainty. That's why we need to aware about the rupiah exchange rate fluctuation. For the industrial relation risk, it's a labor demonstration due to the layoff. We know that in the pandemic condition, many companies cannot survive, and it forced them to lay off some of their employees, including Semen Batu Raja. For production risk, it could be a risk of unplanned and planned shutdown. Maybe we can next. Okay, for supply risk, it will be decreasing limestone resource of the company. Pandemic has forced us to stay at home, and many kind of activities cannot go really well because of the PPKM or PSBB things. So it can also affect to the number of suppliers that decreasing during pandemic. For the distribution risk, we have identified 3 kind of situation. We know that cement industry needs to have a strong relationship with their distributors. But some problem that could happen is the uncovered redemption of distribution guarantee. Also, we know that the infrastructure in Indonesia is not really good enough, so it can cause a risk frequent road damage. And the last one is limited operating hours also might happen to the company. For the employee and talent risk, it could be a safety risk. We also need to be aware about the spread of COVID-19 virus in the company. So for the COVID-19 disease risk, it could be the spread of COVID-19 in the corporate environment. For the innovation risk, it could be digital adaptation failure. For the legal and regulatory, it's company civil law issues, and maybe we can next. So, and also the violation of COVID-19 regulation. For treasury risk, it could be unhealthy cash flow and limited source of fund. And last is debt risk. Company can face a risk of high account receivables. Next. After we do the risk identification, now it's time to assess the risk. First, I want to explain about the qualitative risk assessment. In this case, we use risk probability and impact assessment to calculate this risk level. To calculate it, the first thing we need to do is make a criteria and consequence, also a criteria of consequence and the likelihood. And as you can see on the slide, this is our criteria for impact. We have 5 criteria, including very significant, major, moderate, minor, and not significant. For probability criteria, we have 5 categories, which are very high, moderate, low, and very low. For the risk level, we just need to calculate as simple as likelihood times consequence, and I will show the result on the next slide. Next. So this is the result table of our assessment. We use subjective opinion, but for the number on the likelihood columns and the consequent columns, of course, we are doing this with a valid reason because we have done a deep analysis and research to the company. And the summary, we have 3 kind of very high risk, 5 kind of high risk, 6 kind of moderate risk, 4 kind of low risk, and we have only 2 very low risk. Next. So All we need to do is to make risk matrix to know the position in every risk, and based on the table above, it can be concluded that there are three conditions that must be carried out by the company in responding to risk. For risks that are categorized for the high risk, companies can apply a risk avoidance. So because it has a significant effect to the sustainability of the company. For the risks that are rated as high risk, moderate risk, and low risk, the company can apply a mitigation to avoid the to avoid or at least reduce the impact that may occur. For risks that are assessed as a very low risk, company can apply risk acceptance because the impact is not really significant for the company. And also, the last table is show that the risk percentage of very high risk is 15% compared to other risk level. This indicates that the company condition is not dominated by very high risk, but the company is dominated by high risk, moderate risk, and also the low risk. So the company should make more wise decision to mitigate the risk. Maybe for the next outline will be explained by my friends. Okay, for the conclusion, we can see on this table. So this is the level of risk. We know that we have three kind of very high risk, and then for the high risk, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have five kind of high risk, and for moderate risk, maybe we can next. So based on this table, we know that every risk we have know about the risk response, and we know what should we do to overcome the risk.
And now we will explain about semi-quantitative analysis using event tree analysis method. Event tree analysis, or ETA, is an analysis to represent a mutual exclusive sequence of event from an initial risk event according to the functioning or malfunctioning flow of a system designed to handle this event. This event tree analysis for risk code A1 or decreased purchasing power of product. Next. This is event tree analysis for risk code A2 or delay export and import, and risk code A3 or the declining and the company's stock price. Next. This is event tree analysis for risk code A4 or new emerging product or service from competitors, and risk code A5 market condition change and competitive cement price. Next. And this is event tree analysis for risk code A6 or rupiah exchange rates fluctuation, and risk code B1 or labor demonstration due to layoff. Next. And this is event tree analysis for risk code B2 or risk of unplanned and planned plant shutdown, and risk code B3 decreasing limestone resource at the company. Next. And this is event tree analysis for risk code B4 or risk of frequent road damage on road taken, and risk code B5 uncovered redemption of distribution guarantee. Next. This is event tree analysis for risk code B6 or limited operating hours for truck, and risk code B7 for work safety risk. Next. This is event tree analysis for risk code B8 or the spread of COVID-19 in the corporate environment, and risk code B9 or failed in digital adoption. Next. This is event tree analysis for risk code C1 or company civil law issue, and risk code C2 or violation of COVID-19 regulation. Next. This is event tree analysis for risk code D1 or unhealthy cash flow, and risk code D2 limited source of fund. Next. And this is the last event tree analysis for our presentation for risk code E1 or risk of high accountable receivable. Next.
Okay, next part is about risk mitigation and register. Next, in our risk mitigation, first we make our risk mitigation table, which we classified the risk into 5 aspects. The first one is about market risk, and in risk mitigation table, there is mitigation and which have a positive also negative impact. In the market risk, there is 6 risks, and the first one is decreased purchasing power of product, and mitigation is marketing communication. And for the second market risk is delay import and export, and the mitigation is provide additional flight times, And the third risk is the decline in the company's stock price. The mitigation is show good performance and give customer the best loyalty. The fourth risk is the new emerging product. And the mitigation is the new product offered by the company. And the five risk is market condition change and competitive cement price. And the mitigation is optimize sales to market areas with contribution to higher margins. And the sixth risk is rupiah exchange rate fluctuations. And the mitigation is carry out spare budget. And the second aspect of risk is credit risk. The first risk is risk of high account receivable, and the mitigation is the collectibility of trade accounts receivable and other receivable are reviewed regularly. Next. And for operational risk, there is 8 operational risks. First one is labor demonstration due to layoff, and the mitigation is have an open dialogue with employee and present a policy plan. And the second mitigation for second risk is provide spare machine for the continuity of company operation. And the third mitigation is expansion by adding a new mining areas. And for fourth risk is conducting dialogue with local governance regarding road maintenance, especially the company's operational road. And fifth risk for the mitigation is formation of supervisory team to ensure distributions run according to the agreement. And the sixth risk is for the mitigation is plan alternative route for operations. The seventh risk is periodic checks of work heavy equipment, works obligation to work safety clothing and others. And eighth risk is implementing strict health protocols in the company's operational activity. Next. And the third aspect of risk is legal risk. The first one is company civil law issues, and the mitigation compete the legality of the company to their company activities in accordance with applicable law. And the second risk is violation of COVID-19 regulation. Then the mitigation is implementing strict health protocols. And the fourth aspect of risk is liquidity risk. And the first risk is unhealthy cash flow, and the mitigation is cost leadership initiative. And the second risk is a limited source of funds, and the mitigation is companies monitors capital using gearing ratio. And next. And for the register, in the register, we combine the risk assessment in the few chapter before, like risk identification, which include risk type, code, and risk. And then a residual risk analysis, which is include consequences, likelihood, and risk level. And the chapter before is treatment, include action and plan. And in risk register, we edit a risk monitoring type. And for the market risk, A1 is continuous risk monitoring, A2 is obligatory risk monitoring, A3 is continuous, A4 is continuous, A5 is continuous, and A6 is obligatory. And for C1, C2 is obligatory, D1, D2 is continuous risk monitoring, and for E1 is continuous risk monitoring. Next. And for operational risk, B1 is obligatory risk monitoring, B2 is continuous risk monitoring, B3, B4 is voluntary risk monitoring, B5 and B6 is continuous risk monitoring, B7 and B8 is obligatory risk monitoring, B9 continuous risk monitoring. And for the risk monitoring type, voluntary is risk monitoring strategies are not required by law, but are carried out by companies to help them to learn from events which have occurred in the past. And for obligatory risk monitoring is type that risk monitoring strategies are required by law for some organization to ensure that proper risk monitoring and management methods are used. And for the continuous risk monitoring is monitoring which is always ongoing every monthly or yearly. Next.
So the next part is about good corporate governance of PT Semen Batu Raja. Next. The first one is about the corporate governance system. The company uses the basis of the corporate governance guideline as stated in the circular letter of the Financial Services Authority number 32 SAOJK number 4 2015 on guidelines for open corporate governance as a standard for the implementation of GCG, which includes 5 aspects derived into 8 principles. And for those 5, which are issues, relationship with shareholders in meeting the rights of shareholders, and then roles and function of board and commissioners, and then roles and function of board of directors. For the fourth one is participation of stakeholders, and the last one is disclosure of information. Next. This is aspect number 2 and include principle number 3 and principle number 4. Next. This is aspect number 3 and include principle number 4, number 5, and principle number 6. Next. And this is aspect number 4, include principle number 7. Next. And then this is the last aspect is about principle number 8. Next. In context of corporate governance structure, the company's supporting organs consist of the audit committee, the risk management committee, and the nomination of and remuneration committee, the corporate secretary division, and the internal audit division under the board of directors, and the external auditor under the DMH. For corporate governance principle, the company is guided by 5 principles, which include openness, accountability, responsibility, independence, and fairness. Next. The next about objectives of implementing corporate governance. The implementation of corporate governance within the company has the following objectives, and there are 4 objectives. Firstly, the company seeks to maximize corporate value by implementing the 5 principles that I already mentioned in the previous parts. And secondly, encouraging the management of the company in professional, transparent, and efficient manner, as well as empowering functions and increasing management independence. And thirdly, encouraging the management to make decisions and to take actions based on high moral values and compliance with applicable laws and regulation. And fourthly, to serve as a guideline for all the company individuals in carrying out the company's activities. And the image and beside this is a comparison GCG score in 2019 and 2020. The implementation of GCG can be said to be very good in terms of the quality assessment of its implementation. Next. The third one is about realization of corporate governance. The realization is made based on the 5 principles of good corporate governance, and for detail we can see on the screen. And the first image is about openness and accountability principle. Next. And this is for the last part. This about our responsibilities, independence, and fairness principle. Next. In fact, PT Semen Batu Raja has already knew that they must evaluate the performance of GCG system because in 2020, PT Semen Batu Raja did not receive any reward as previous years, and the evaluation has been realized through plan to implement better for good corporate governance of PT Semen Batu Raja. And the internal evaluation could be from any source, and one of solution that we want to suggest is from resolution that connected to better plan for GCG in the next year. Next. So for plan 2021, the company GCG implementation will focus on review of the code of conduct, review board manual, socialization of GCG both internally and externally, and update the VBS application, follow up the recommendation of the 2020 assessment result, and surveillance audit SNI ISO anti-bribery management system. Besides, as a researcher to research and evaluate GCG of the company, we also would give our recommendation to support risk solution that we already determined in previous part, and it will be explained in the next part through some tables. Next.
And this is a recommendation from us based on the solutions we have found. and we have matched them according to the current implementation of CGC. Next. All of the recommendation that have already been given based on for supporting toward realization resolution expected to be a solution for PT Semen Batu Raja in order to in the next year and beyond. The company will receive appreciation again as previous years for the CGC award that indicate highest quality of CGC in an assessment. Next.
Okay, for the last one is the conclusion. By analyzing the performance of PT Semen Batu Raja, found that 3 or 5 type of risk, namely market risk, operational risk, legal risk, liquidity risk, and credit risk. Then of the 5 type of risk, they are further divided into 12 main risks at PT Semen Batu Raja. Overall, operational risk, liquidity risk, and market risk are 3 risks that have a high chance of happening and a high level of risk as well. In 2020, the company has received no GCG rewards as is previous year, even though their GCG assessment in score increased by the previous year from 91.72 to 91.47. This could probably be because there is an increase in the standard of assessment that the company couldn't pass. So this is causing they have no reward at all in 2020. Internal evaluation should be conducted based on resolution for implementing good corporate governance in the company. For our recommendation, operational risk, market risk, and liquidity risk are 3 types of risk that must be considered by the company. The second one, the company can also expand the market by adding new products such as white clay. And the third one, the company can improve cost efficiency in various fields, both operational, administrative, and other fields. And the last one, tighten the regulation of the use of the budget, as well as reduce general and administrative expense, as well as selling expense. So that is from us. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.